No. If God will create a tree that will not multiply, it will happen.
God will not break His word. That's sure yan sa Bible. He will not break His own word.
Nagbubunga naman yan.
Oo nga, I agree, bumubunga at nagbabarami, pero hindi yun nakikita natin. Kasi ang tree of life at tree of knowledge, we believe nag-multiply. Pero I'm just saying, pag natural, will multiply natural. Spiritual will multiply spiritual. Mamaya papakita ko, nag-multiply din ng tree of life at tree of knowledge. Pero hindi gaya ng iniisip natin na, kasi we should see it today. Okay, Genesis 2:9, pakibasa.
2:9.
Hold on.
And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree which is pleasant to the sight, good for food, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That is verse 9.
Okay. Yung good for food, walang exception. Sabi niya, every tree that is coming from the ground is good for food. Wala siya sabing except. The except, makikita mo niyan sa verse 17, na binanggit na yung pero wala na siyang babanggiting out of the ground. Bar William, pakibasa nga yung paliwanag sa 2:9 na. Doon sa tracks. 2:9.
Yeah, dito, all that came out of the ground are good for food without exception.
Without exception. Okay, next. Okay, next. Pakibasa.
2:17?
Let's tuloy mo pa. 2:17.
Genesis 2:17.
Okay.
Tree of knowledge of good and evil is not good for food compared to other literal trees because it was not specified here as out of the ground.
So, if you're gonna compare spiritual with literal na, hindi na niya ikikwento out of the ground. Doon lang binanggit yung exception. Pero hindi na niya babanggitin out of the ground. So, Bar William,
Saka yung sinasabi doon, yung midst of the garden. The word yung midst of the garden, yan na-explain mo. Ano yung midst na sinasabi doon sa garden?
yung
Kasi because I believe, doon sa literal tree, pag sinabi mo, buong mundo yan eh. Pero it's talking about yung midst that is in the garden. May specific place.
So, ganito yun. Bago tayo pumunta sa midst, to-prove natin na yung good for food, lahat ng natural trees. Lahat ng natural trees is good for food. Ngayon, yung sinabi ng hindi good for food, wala nang binanggit out of the ground. Okay? So, that's another point. Kung good for food, out of the ground. Kung hindi good for food, wala nang binanggit out of the ground. Let's move to chapter 3. I'm gonna prove spiritual ang kain. Spiritual ang kain. Chapter 3, verse 5. Sige, 5. Pakibasa ang verse 5.
Now, ang nilagay mo, no? Become wise, tapos eyes open.
Okay, pakibasa verse 5.
3:5.
And the woman
No, for God
doth
doth know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
So, the woman, how the serpent said into the woman, your eyes will be opened. You shall be as gods. Okay, verse 6. Okay, basa. May parang wise eh.
The woman saw that the tree was good for food, was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Okay, so this kind of tree, okay.
Isingit ko lang, no? Kasi, isingit ko lang. Kasi if it's a natural tree, no? Then that kind of tree would exist since then up to today. Now, kung natural tree talaga yun, that means yung tree talaga makakain mo, and then it will make you wise.
Yeah.
Pero there's no such tree today. Di ba? Wala ka naman makita ganon. So it's not a natural, it's more a spiritual application.
Okay, anyway, narinig na namin, ako personally,
Yeah.
I don't know about yourself, narinig ko na yung explanation about it. Okay, I have a question. Garden of Eden is a literal place.
Yes, geographical area mo.
Geographer. Okay. Yung mga trees doon literal except the two.
Yes.
The two represents
Actually, the two is about talking about law. Okay. Law of God. Okay.
The law of God, okay.
Yes. That means there's a law.
Wait, the tree of life there is not a literal tree.
It's not.
Okay.
If we say, naintindihan mo, no? Pero
Yeah.
yung
I
pag
have
sinabing
another
literal, yung nakikita mo,
Yes, yung
nahahawak
nakikita.
mo, at
Nahahawak.
nakakain mo talaga.
Yun ang ibig sabihin.
Oo.
So, hindi siya nag-exist.
It's yung literal is that, but spiritual it exists.
Yeah,
Spiritual
literal.
application.
Yeah.
Oo.
They don't believe let me use the
Kasi-
word. They are a literal person, human being.
Kasi okay,
Right? They exist. Okay. Pinalaya sila. Right?
Okay, yes.
Pinalabas sila.
Yes.
Sa literal na garden.
Yes. No,
And then the
actually,
Lord-
okay, sige, tuloy mo.
Yeah. And then the Lord put a cherubim so that they can go
Okay.
back.
They cannot.
They can go back. Why? The reason
Okay.
the reason of the Lord is baka na naman sila pumitas o baka na naman sila kumain or baka na naman sila makipagtalik.
Okay.
yun. Okay, good
So
question.
now, the way kasi inconsistent.
Okay.
How come na mangyayari doon? Baka makipagtalik, baka bumalik kaya hinarangan. So ibig sabihin,
Okay.
kung hindi nag-i-exist
Yes.
yun, hindi nahaharangan naman yun eh, ng anghel, hindi nahaharangan ng ano. Kasi meron silang kapasidad na makapasok.
Wait.
May,
Okay.
may kapasidad sila na makapasok, kaya nga hinarangan eh, ng angel at saka ng meron sword.
Can I
May
explain it
kapasidad
no?
sila.
Yung,
Kung hindi hinarangan yun, pwede silang bumalik at pwede silang pumitas, kumain, or makipagsigma. But the question is, ibig sabihin, kung ang pagkain ay makikipagtalik sila doon sa tree of life, something like that.
No, you haven't heard from our side, eh.
Okay.
yung
Siyempre, you
gusto-
might have heard from others, di ba? Yung paliwanag medyo askew.
Yeah.
So, you haven't heard it thoroughly, di ba? Ngayon, kung sakali, we run out of time.
Okay, next time pag-usapan.
Tutuloy natin yan. Pero,
Okay.
ngayon,
Pero-
habang
Okay,
di pa
sir.
nag-start,
I can give you just
Ano
plain,
tayo?
yung
Kulay paliwanag.
plain, no? Plain, simple. Okay, we have this literal God.
Yeah.
Literal.
Yeah.
And God made Adam out of the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, that's literal.
Yeah.
But you know, the Bible when you read, no, kasi it's more, there are so many things on time and shadow. Hindi talaga lahat ng pag binasa mo, literal lahat. May spiritual. It needs God's revelation to reveal, to open it up. In order for us to see.
Pagka nagawa siya,
and
book of
understand.
Genesis is literal, that is creation, is not spiritual.
Okay, I'll explain.
Or parang-
I'll explain to you. You know, God, when God is there, what do you think about God? My question. Ano yung nasa perception mo as a God?
God himself is love,
He-
creator,
he is a spirit, right?
Spirit, yeah.
Pag sinabi mong spirit, wala siyang substance. You cannot see. Wala siyang shape.
Yeah.
You cannot. Wala siyang ano eh. You cannot limit God also.
Yeah. It can manifest also in different ways.
Yes, I agree. Ngayon, in that garden, if God was there, nandun yung God's presence. Meaning, nung ginawa na yung tao, kaya nga tinawag dyan paradise, Garden of Eden, because God's presence was there. Pag sinabi yung God's presence was there, the spiritual world, na iba-ibang dimension, kung saan, yung presence ng Diyos na doon, sa lugar noon, geographical area, yung Garden of Eden. So when He created Adam and Eve, okay, si Adam nakakausap ng Diyos.
Yeah.
Maniwala ka, nakikita rin niya mga yan.
Yeah.
Okay? So, that means, nandoon yung presensya because hindi pa nahulog ang tao. So, nung tao, pag hindi pa nagkasala, yung Diyos nandoon yung presensya. Nakakausap niya. Nafe-fellowship niya ang Diyos. Okay. Pero there's a law, na binigay sa kanila itong multiply. Ang tanong ko, how do they multiply? They have to do it natural way. in order to be married.
Yeah.
Diba? Through sexual